So at the Design West event in late March in Silicon Valley, we had an opportunity to meet with some San Jose State students, and one of them was Joy Franco here, who's a mechanical engineering student at San Jose State. And Joy and Renee are involved in the Society for Women Engineers. And if you've been following Drive for Engineering, everywhere we can, we talk about the challenge of women in engineering. How do we get more women in engineering? How do we get all those smart young ladies who excel at math and sciences and then seem to hit a wall in college and high school for whatever reasons? How do we keep them engaged in engineering? And tell us a little bit about what your local chapter is doing to that end.
So our section is definitely trying to increase those numbers by hosting a yearly event. It's called Wow, That's Engineering. We invite around 100 high school girls to come to the College of Engineering and partake in hands-on engineering workshops where they get to do things like building towers, building water filtration device, because a lot of them don't really understand what engineering is. That's very common for young women. That was the case for myself. And then, so Renee and I put that on.
Yeah, I took the girls on tours of some of our labs to, understand what the instruments we work on, and the real applications for the problems that engineers solve. A lot of people in general, not just girls, don't know what engineers do and don't really understand how useful it is and how it's a growing field. They don't understand why they should get into it. So we're just trying to promote an awareness of what it is and the value of it, and all the cool stuff you can do, of course.
And so looking forward, you guys are trying to start a tutor program, right?
Yes. In order for the club to raise money so that we can send our students to leadership conferences, we'd like to start tutoring young women in the community. And we see it as an opportunity for companies to show their support for women in engineering by sponsoring the junior high or high school girls to come to San Jose State and be tutored and mentored by the great students in SWE.
Yeah, and that also, we can help promote SWE and all the ideas that I just talked about with those girls on a personal level while helping them in their classes.
So, material science, mechanical engineering, how have you sort of run the gauntlet and gotten to where you are now? Why are you interested in that when there's, in some cases, only 5% of women are in engineering?
Yeah, it took many years. I was someone who entered community college, no idea what I wanted to do. In fact, my first major was anthropology. And so it really took me a while to find the niche that I'm in, and it shouldn't have to take that long, is my perspective on it. I was in community college 5 years, and I have enough units just transferring here that I could have a degree. So I really had to search through and just take classes till I found it.
One of the problems that we hear on the road, anecdotal for sure, is that if you're a woman, a young woman, you may not be getting the kind of guidance that a young man or a boy would. In other words, you'll get guided into certain disciplines in college, even if you might have an aptitude for engineering.
It's true, and I don't think it's malicious. I think that it's just that we have preconceived notions of what men and women do in society. We're just brought up with that, and like I said, it's not with malintent. That's just how things have been for so long, that when people are mentoring us, they naturally impose their concept of what we should do. And so unless we're lucky enough to stumble upon someone who maybe has a counterintuitive or maybe a less common perspective, unless we come across someone who says, engineers create things. You don't have to be an art major to create things. You could be a mechanical engineer. We don't always know that there are other options.